Hello, I hope everyone's doing well and had a good weekend. Um, I wanted to thank everyone who responded to my initial post with some advice and feedback. Particularly, I really liked someone brought up a more cognitivist approach to my idea, which would require both parents and teachers to sort of work together to create this sort of plan, which I'll get into the plan at the very end. But yeah, I wanted to just say thank you for giving me that feedback. So a big thing that's affected me in this research was, initially I always thought nature deficit disorder, which is, lack of access to the outdoor world and lack of engagement with the outdoor world, was something that could be relatively easily fixed with just more attention given. But in light of certain changes, particularly logging being permitted on national park lands, less resources gone to protecting these wildlands. It was very eye-opening to see how much bigger this problem is and how much more energy needs to go into combating both nature deficit disorder and just sort of a general disconnect from the outdoors, because I think that is a big driving force as to what's happening globally, is that there's just not enough connection. So yeah, that really opened my eyes, and it was very moving and very shocking. So using the comments that I received as well as my original idea, so my initial idea was to, if I had unlimited resources, to create a sort of set of guidelines based off of Piaget's theories of development and the rough age ranges that children develop, and to create a set of guidelines or rules for each different developmental stage that correlates to how they should interact with nature. So for example, in the sensory motor stage, which is birth to 2, obviously they're not gonna have the ability to connect with nature in an abstract way, right? They're not gonna be able to think about the future like that. But taking time out to give them sensory experiences, which is what they mostly learn from, so things like laying in the grass, feeling different textures of different plants or bark or rocks or things around them, all very basic things like that, they're going to learn quicker that way. If we could go on and say, in the pre-operational stage, it's more symbolic and imaginary, so, just making sure they engage in imaginary outdoor play, playing on the playground, things like that. Concrete operational, 7 to 11, so we could, the way I presented it was a list of almost experiments that kids could engage with, because they're starting to get more abstract and more critical. So, noting the time of year that leaves change, experimenting with their own personal garden and testing different variables. I think that would really help. And finally, informal operational, which is, 11 plus, to really fully develop the ability to think abstractly with nature and how it impacts them personally. So this would be something in school, a set period of time in which, the upper level kids need to sit outside with no phones, no screens, just sit and be there with themselves and nature and engage with it. So that was my original idea. I still do think I'm going to stick with that kind of idea, but using the comments people left, I'm definitely going to gear it more towards both parents and teachers, because that was something I had a little bit of trouble with. So thank you.